Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to Tereak Talks, to another Premier League preview show. But with this weekend, we have a twist. We are also doing the EFL Cup final, otherwise known as the Carabao Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool, as it's a special weekend here in the UK, well, here in England, as we have this competition. It always falls upon this weekend, the end of February, just about entering the beginning of March. And yeah, it's a big game, massive game between two Premier League clubs. So I thought, why not let's do an EFL Cup special? And you guys, and thank you to everyone that is here watching right now, whether you're watching live with me, I really do appreciate you coming in here watching live. You know how the show goes. We discuss all the Premier League fixtures as well as the EFL Cup one. That's the one that we're going to be speaking about first today. And then we also go into the games and you send your predictions in. You can either do it in the live chat, but if you want to submit them and make sure that they're in so that we have a predictions league going and we can update the table as well as the predictor of the month, you will need to put them into the comments, of course. But I'll talk more about that. But before we do get into it, let me just pick up everyone that's watching here live right now. Big up to yourself, my bro Shay, who's an Arsenal fan, as you can see in the name. Big up to yourself, Shay. Hope you're keeping good and well. Oris, the Man United fan. Big up to my bro Oris. Long time no see. He says, big up to Erik. Hope you've been keeping good, my bro. And hope, yeah, last time we spoke, it's been a while. I hope that everything's going good with the channel. Also, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new here, says Shay. Shay, you're doing this better than me, my friend. You always do the admin duties better than myself. I forget about that half the time. But listen to Shay right there, people. If you want to support the channel, support your boy, the work that's going in here so we can bring you more content, make sure you do subscribe if you are new, if you haven't done so already. But if you haven't done so, and you all have, should have by now, because you know when you go into someone's house and you just take your shoes off, just be courteous. That's the equivalent of doing that here. Drop that, hit that like button. Big up to yourself, Shay. Appreciate that. And on time for the first time, I'm trying to be a better man, trying to improve week on week, Shay. Hold me to it, and I'm glad that you brought it up here too, my man. Big up to yourself. And then even Paxton saying on time for once. Technically it started at 1 minute past, but oh well. Hey, that's on time for, I mean, it's definitely early for me. Early, even though I'm still late technically. Big up to yourself, guys. Big up Pax. Long time no see, my bro. What? I always see you in here every week, my bro. So big up to yourself. Daz is in here again. He says, big up to Rico. Hope you're well today. I'm doing good, Daz. Hope you are too. Thank you for asking. Happy Friday to yourself, Daz. March coming up. Moss will be in his March Madness soon. Yes, he will be. He'll be in the UK as well. So if you're watching this afterwards, Moss, big up yourself. Hope you have a safe journey when you do come in the next couple of weeks. Odi Guan Kenobi, my brother, hope you're keeping good and well. Says, what's the name you always think of when you say the League Cup? I always think of the Worthington Cup or the Worthless Cup. For me, Odi Guan Kenobi, because of my age, it's definitely the Carling Cup. That's what I think of when you think of the EFL Cup or the League Cup. It's the Carling Cup for me. I've got bad memories of Arsenal in the Carling Cup, losing 2 finals that I watched when Arsene Wenger decided to play the kids up against Chelsea. We had a good fight. We put up a good fight, to be fair, given that we put out such an inexperienced side in the final in that game, but we lost and John Terry got booted and knocked out and it was down to 10 men. I remember that one. Oh, we also watched the one against Manchester City too. But the one that we all remember is that 2-1 defeat to Birmingham. That was whilst we was in our trophy drought at the club too. And it was a painful day, especially being an Arsenal fan from the Midlands, growing up in and around the Birmingham area. So yeah, that was hard. That was definitely hard to watch, but it is a League Cup final, and yeah, it's always a big occasion. And this is when the competition really gets taken seriously. I'd say in the quarterfinals, that's when you start to see the bigger teams put out their best players. Still rotate a little bit, but it's still massive. Discord revival plan still not in action, just like the live show. Hey, Pax, you're keeping on top of me. We definitely need to two things. Get the Discord revival plan in action, in on the go. Let's hope we can get that done this week. Coming and then still not in action for the live show. I can't give you a date on that. I can't even give you an estimate on when that's going to happen. Big up to yourself, Jerry, from the Jerry James Show, who is a Liverpool fan and a friend of the channel here too, and mutual friends with G. So big up to yourself, Jerry James. Love to see you in here and appreciate you coming in as well and supporting your boy. Big up to yourself. Moss is here now, all the way over in Canada, but will be here in the UK soon. But let us get into it. And everyone else that's watching afterwards, big up to yourself. Really appreciate you tuning in. And let's get into it. You haven't missed anything yet, Moss? You haven't missed anything. Just greetings and wishing everyone well and a happy Friday here as well. So let's get into it, my people. And we'll bring up the thumbnail. There it is. Just so you know what I have to do. I have to try and change the background. See that? There you go. Look at that. Looks nice. Game week 26 here in the Premier League. But we're also going to be predicting the EFL Cup games. Before I talk to you about what we're going to be doing in terms of predicting the EFL Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool, let's bring you up to date with the rules and regs for the Premier League preview show, which is all predictions must be entered before the first fixture of the game week. And the way that you will have to do that, guys, is by leaving your predictions in the comment section at the end of the stream. So once the stream's been done, you can submit your predictions in the comment section. It just makes it a lot easier for your boy to collate them all and make sure we have so all of you guys can see all your submitted scores there too, so making it as cheat proof as possible. Make sure you do put them in the comment section. You will get 3 points for correct score. So Arsenal play Newcastle in the Premier League this weekend. If Arsenal win by 2-0 and you predict a 2-0 Arsenal win, then guess what? You know it, people. You'll get 3 points for that. But if Arsenal win 2-0 and you predict a 2-1 Arsenal win or a 3-1 Arsenal win, then you will only get 1 point for the correct result. If you do predict a Newcastle win or a draw in that game, then you will, and Arsenal do win 2-0, then you won't get a point at all. So hopefully that makes it clear for you. And for the EFL Cup final, guys, this is important for you now. We will be doing the predictions, and it will be based upon the 90 or 120 minutes at the final whistle. So if Chelsea win, obviously in normal time, or Liverpool win, shall we say, because we've got Liverpool fans here in the chat. So let's say Liverpool win 2-1 in 90 minutes and you predict a Liverpool win or whatever, then that's fine. And it's pretty easy from there. But if it goes to extra time and it's 1-1, then Liverpool win 2-1 and score the winner in extra time. If you predicted a Liverpool win, then you will get the result for that one. If you predict a 2-1 Liverpool win, you will get it for the extra time result. So before we get to penalties, if the game goes to penalties, you must predict the score before it goes to penalties. So if it's 1-1, 2-2, 0-0, then yeah, you must predict whatever the scoreline is there. Hopefully that's clear for you guys. If you do have any questions, put them into the chat. So if it goes to penalties and it finishes Chelsea 1, Liverpool 1, and you predict a 1-1, you'll get it. But if it goes to penalties and Liverpool win by penalties and you predict a Liverpool 2-1 win, that won't count. You will have to predict a draw if it goes to penalties. So it's not just the 90 minutes, but it's after extra time here as well, guys. So yeah, key points there. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, so you're doing the League Cup 2. What time that match on Sunday? I believe it's a 4:30 kickoff. I do believe so. Liverpool win 3-2 in OT. So is that good? Yes. So if you predict a 3-2 and it finishes 2-2 after 90 minutes, but Liverpool score a winning goal in extra time, Moss, you will get those points. So there you go. Hopefully that's easy to understand for you all. So if you do have any questions, you know what to do, people. Put them into the comment section. But remember, as Shay says, Jay's keeping me on top of this. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. So Daz says there is no early game tomorrow, is there, Tereak? No, there isn't. No early game. The first game that kicks off is the 3 o'clock kickoff. So Daz, as long as you submit your predictions in before 3 o'clock, you will be entered for this week's predictions. And yeah, I'll show you the predictions league table and the standings for the predictor of the month as well. It's quite tight within there, so make sure you do stay tuned in for that, my peeps. And let's get into it. The first one, which is Chelsea versus Liverpool at Wembley on Sunday. The last game, it's not the last game of the weekend, it's the penultimate game of the weekend because West Ham play Brentford on Monday, but this one is the big one on Sunday, 4:30 kickoff, Chelsea versus Liverpool. How many times have we seen this fixture, guys? It feels like we see it in so many cup finals, especially under Thomas Tuchel in his second season. We saw them in the Carabao Cup final there. We also have seen them play in the FA Cup final. We've seen these two teams have a lot of draws, but the last time that these two teams actually faced, Liverpool walked out convincing winners and won by 4-1. Yeah, we all remember that in that midweek game. It was the game before Liverpool did face Arsenal, in fact, and they had a players return for that in Szoboszlai and Trent, but then they after that game subsequently picked up injuries. That's what I was meant to say. You know, I'm stumbling on my words. Hey, it's Friday evening, people. Maybe I've had a little bit. I haven't. Just on the water tonight. But yeah, subsequently lost 2 players, and Trent did play the game against Arsenal, but is he going to be available? It doesn't look like he is. The same goes for Alisson and Jota. They will be out of this fixture. Caoimhin Kelleher has been the EFL Cup final goalkeeper anyway for Liverpool. So he was, even if Alisson was fit, he'd most likely keep his place. So for Liverpool, they will not have Trent, Alisson or Jota available for this game. However, Jurgen Klopp did announce that Núñez, Salah and Szoboszlai will be monitored ahead of this game. Of course, with it being a cup final, that players will likely risk themselves if they are not 100% fit, and most likely neither of these players will be, with Salah just come back from a hamstring injury, and apparently he's still suffering with the after effects of that, which forced him to miss the game against Luton. The same goal was with Darwin Núñez, who had a tight hamstring or when he came off in the second half, just before the second half began against Brentford. So he's nursing a hamstring tightness, shall we say. And Szoboszlai, another player who suffered with a hamstring injury, and he had a recurrence of his previous hamstring injury that kept him out for a few Liverpool games. So 3 muscular injuries, 3 hamstring injuries for Liverpool, and 3 in key important players, especially in the attack. Without Diogo Jota, Núñez, Salah are going to be the spearheads for Liverpool, their main threats against Chelsea. And Chelsea, for them defensively, they may have Thiago Silva return. Although Chelsea defended valiantly against Manchester City last week in that 1-1 draw. Surprised a lot of people, surprised myself. A lot of us predicted a Manchester City win, and by a few goals there too. But Chelsea put up a good performance and could have won in the end if they did take their chances. And maybe, for me, in my opinion, if Pochettino wasn't so pragmatic with his substitutions, if he did allow Chelsea to still have an outlet on that pitch whilst taking off Jackson and Cole Palmer, the Chelsea front line certainly impressed. And we have seen Chelsea rise for these big games, these big occasions against the top teams in the league, and put some goals past them, scored against Liverpool in the first game of the season in a 1-1 draw. Really impressed in that second half after looking a bit shaky in the first. Manchester City putting 4 goals past them at Stamford Bridge as well. And then, of course, getting a 1-1 draw at the Etihad, which isn't to be sniffed at. And not many teams have been able to do that of late, and nearly come away with a win. And that would have been the first win that a team would have had at the Etihad since Brentford did it before the World Cup on November the 12th, I do believe it was, in 2022. So yeah, we're in 2024 now. Nobody still has beaten Manchester City, but Chelsea put up a good performance there. And for this game, I think it's going to be one of them tight, cagey games again that we tend to see in cup finals. I remember when watching this game, in when Liverpool did compete for the 4 trophies, and they are competing for 4 trophies now. They are competing in the Europa League, and they have been drawn Sparta Prague, and that's a favourable draw for Liverpool, who have a lot of injuries stacking up at the moment, key players missing. They'd like to be able to rotate in that and then still have their key players available, ready, refreshed for the Premier League, and still expect to progress in against Sparta Prague. But they are competing in a lot of trophies this season and in a lot of games, and looks like they could go to the wire in all of them, similar to how they did 2 years ago. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be tight and cagey. Both teams will have chances. Liverpool, who do defend well and don't let up plenty of chances, but the chances that they do let up are big. And we've seen Chelsea can pose a threat on the counter-attack. Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, Raheem Sterling scored against Manchester City last weekend. Nkunku, the likes of them there with the tenacious midfield that they have with the Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo. Those are the 3 midfielders that could easily play for Jurgen Klopp and suit him stylistically. So it's going to be an intense end-to-end game, that's for sure. And Liverpool, if they are able to get their key players back fit, they've got the likes of Nunez, Salah, Diaz, Szoboszlai, who had a lot of dynamism, directness into that forward line. And Chelsea, with a young defense, an inexperienced team, could have a bit of stage fright. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see, because that's what you never really understand what you're going to get on a week-to-week basis when you do have young players. That tends to happen. Liverpool a lot more experienced than the Chelsea group in managing these types of situations. I think that's probably why Mauricio Pochettino is desperate to have Thiago Silva back, someone who has been in plenty of finals, in bigger finals than this, in the Champions League, and won them, and will be able to guide a lot of these youngsters. Enzo Fernandez has played in a World Cup final, for goodness sakes. Even though he's very young, he's going to be able to manage that sort of occasion where there's plenty of other Chelsea players that haven't quite been at this stage. You know, your Moises Caicedos, your Nicholas Jacksons, your Cole Palmer. Yeah, he's been in and around it, but now having a key role, it's a bit different. Well, you're one of the figureheads at Chelsea. You're one of the players that Chelsea fans are pinning their hopes on to have a good game if they are to get anything out of it. And the same goes for your Levi Colwills and the likes of that there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be big for this. And my prediction, what I've gone for is I've gone for a 1-1 draw. So I think it will go to extra time and it still will be 1-1. And then Chelsea will be the winners on a penalty shootout. And the reason why I've gone for that and I've gone for a Chelsea win is if Liverpool are missing a Nunez, missing Salah, and missing Szoboszlai, or at least 2 out of those 3, I think that's going to hinder them in the penalty shootout. And Chelsea, I mean, they've scored quite a few good penalties this season, Cole Palmer being one of them. They've got Enzo Fernandez. I know he's missed a penalty against West Ham, and since then, Cole Palmer's taken them. But I just feel like they will have more players who I just feel a little bit more confident. And I know the penalty shootout is kind of a look at a draw, how you do cope in that moment. But I just think that Chelsea will have enough experience, know-how to score them, and not having a Alisson in goal. I know Queven Keller had played in the last final and did well and scored. He did score, didn't he? And Kepa Arrizabalaga missed it. But I just think that Chelsea will be able to win it in a penalty shootout. But if I was to go for a winner in before penalty shootouts, I'd have to favour Liverpool. But I've gone for a Chelsea win here. I just think this game is bigger for Chelsea also, and the future of Mauricio Pochettino, mainly with the belief within the fan base. If he needs to get them back on side, and a win in a final will certainly do that for the time being. It's not going to be life change. It's not going to be, he's got credit in the bank for many years to come, because they still have underperformed in the league this season. A trophy will just be a nice supplement and something to give the players and the fans and even members of the club to have a little bit more belief into Pochettino, that he can build a winning side with a winning culture and get Chelsea back to their best. And I think the Manchester City results give me a little bit of belief that they can at least take this to a penalty shootout against Liverpool. But let me see your thoughts and feelings on this game, guys, in the chat. Let me scroll right up. We've got plenty of comments. Big up to everyone. And if you haven't heard me say this already, 3rd time, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. Puma Black and White, Newcastle a little too much there. Hey, they used to be sponsored by Puma, they're not anymore, but you are right about the black and white. I do apologize. I know I'm looking like a magpie at the moment. No, there is no early game. Is it a 3 p.m. on Sunday? I think it's a 4:30. Let me just double check for you there, Shay, right now. I believe it is a 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. Oh, no, it is a 3 p.m. You are right. That's quite early, actually. Yeah, it is at 3 p.m. Yeah, my apologies there. It is 3 p.m., guys. I do apologize. That's quite early, don't you think? I wonder why. Wolves are playing at 1:30, and then that game's going to finish probably around about that time if you look at it with extra time and those things. But Paxton, he's got his first prediction. He's gone for a 4-0 Chelsea win. Oh my word, that's I think that's more with his hatred towards Liverpool there, being a Man United fan. Moss says we do the goal rush at 3 p.m. kickoffs, guys. Go check him out there on Moss Sports World. Not watching this game because Chelsea will probably bottle it, he says, but he wants a Chelsea win, so he's gone with that. Daz has gone for a Chelsea 1, Liverpool 4 after extra time. Wow. So do you think it's going to be a 1-1 at extra time and then Liverpool just blitz them towards the end? That's crazy, but I love that. Love that, Daz. Thank you for that right there. Shay's gone for a 1-1 draw also, but Chelsea will win on penalties by 5 penalties to 4. 5-4 on pens. Brush says, after the Aston news, I don't mind a Liverpool win. Hey, yo, Brush, I just saw that before I went live, and yeah, do you know what? I predicted a Chelsea win, but I really hope they don't. I mean, I hope they don't anyway, because as an Arsenal fan, I don't want to see Chelsea doing well. But after that, yeah, please keep her away from the internet, please. So yeah, Liverpool, let's win. Daz said he's changed his mind. He's gone for a bit more of a realistic one, a 2-0 Liverpool win. He says, do you think there will be a FPL for the Euros to reach? Yeah, I think there will be a Euros like fancy sort of thing. They tend to have it. UEFA will most likely host it. I remember they had it for the last Euros. FIFA tend to do the World Cup ones, of course, because it's a FIFA competition. So yeah, there will be something for that. It's quite interesting to play. Bungle is in here, and the winner of the two-time winner of Tereak Talks FPL Family League. He's the one who's won it. He'd be the great person to ask. Good morning to yourself, Bungle, over there in the Far East. Hope you're keeping well, my brother. And nice to see you in here as well. Be interesting if Leverkusen Liverpool in the Europa League, Moss. Indeed, it could be. And it's 1-1 for Bayern Munich. Ooh, could they drop points and let Bayern Munich back into the race? We'll have to wait and see. Big up to yourself, my bro Bungo. Still in Tokyo. Oh, nice. Hey, hope you're keeping good and well, my brother. Take it off, T. Take it off. He wants me to strip off for you guys on the show. 1:30 a.m. Oof, in the Monday. Is that the game when the game kicks off? Ooh, nightmare. Correct. I will never predict Liverpool win in a final, even if my life depends on it. I did see the change. So big up to yourself, guys. I've gone for a draw. People have gone for a Liverpool win, Chelsea win, convincing Liverpool and Chelsea wins at that. But I've gone for a 1-1 draw and Chelsea to win on penalties. I think you'll be happy with that. Let's go now into the next game, and it is the Arsenal game. It is Arsenal up against Newcastle. As Moss is saying, I'm looking like I'm representing the Magpies at the moment. I've got a little bit of red that you may see at the bottom of the cap, the one that you gave me, Moss. Look to yourself each and every time. But I've got a little bit of red there, and I am representing. I am an Arsenal fan, even though I'm wearing black and white. Do be easy on me, Gooners, about that. But this is a huge game for Arsenal, massive in terms of their title hopes and aspirations, but also massive in terms of belief after their 1-0 defeat away. Sorry, not at home. That would be a nightmare if that happened. A 1-0 defeat away to Porto. And yeah, just quickly on that, I spoke about this. Harry thankfully gave me the opportunity to speak on his channel with him after the game and my thoughts on it. I was a little bit annoyed. I mean, I was annoyed with the result and how we didn't necessarily give Porto any problems. They played quite well, but we defended okay throughout the majority of the game, I'd say. Looked a little bit shaky with certain players, certain key individuals at that. Galeno should have scored before he did. He scored the winner, and for me, yeah, I don't put too much blame on that on David Raya at all, to be honest. Maybe he could have done better if he didn't dive so early, but that's nitpicking for me. It's a wonderful strike. It's a wonder goal. Porto deserved the win because of just in the end of taking that moment and the chance they should have scored earlier, and Arsenal didn't really create anything to note. I would have happily taken a 0-0 draw. 1-0 isn't the end of the world. Arsenal can still come back. So I've still got a lot of optimism and belief that we can progress into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I think it's imperative that Arteta does to kind of avenge that European record. I think it's important that we do have a good European run. I think that we can win the competition. I still do believe that. Real Madrid lost their first game in the round of 16. Chelsea have done it. Plenty of teams have. It's not the end of the world time. I know it's a very inexperienced side in that competition, but with having a lot of key players returning, hopefully we may see some this weekend. I'll go into that. But going into that second leg, it should be vital at home. We lost against Lens away from home, slapped them 6-0. That's how it is in the Champions League sometimes. So let's hope we can do that there. But focus now onto this fixture, because this one is bigger than what we had on Wednesday. Because we know how important it is. After Manchester City and Liverpool won in midweek, Liverpool won't be playing, of course, in this game. They've played it one game more than us because of them playing Luton, which was meant to be this weekend, but rearranged because of the final. We need to claim back points on them, and it has to be a win. Can't afford to draw games in the Premier League because they're essentially like a loss when it comes to this stage of the season. Liverpool in a good run. Manchester City slipped up against Chelsea. Need to take advantage. They are ahead of us because they have now played the equal amount of games. And going into this fixture, they would have played against Bournemouth. So we'll know the result of that, and that might give us an added incentive in terms of winning. It might add a bit more pressure if they do go and win or drop points. I mean, there's pressure going to be added no matter what happens in that Manchester City game, and it's going to be important for us to go and do it. Newcastle, they need to try and avenge their slump that they've been in, especially defensively, conceding a lot of goals. They drew at home against Bournemouth 2-2. They won the week prior to that, but they still conceded 2 goals against Nottingham Forest. Bruno Guimaraes being the star man there. He's going to have a key role in this. He's got a little bit of needle within the Arsenal with Arsenal players and the Arsenal fans, especially since he made that transfer to Newcastle, where Newcastle made a big song and dance about Arsenal being interested, but he ended up at Newcastle in the end. Should be interesting indeed to see how that reacts. And of course, what happened in the first game with a lot of controversial decisions. The goal had a lot of controversy surrounding it. Mikel Arteta's comments at the end of the game had a lot of controversy surrounding it. It's controversy as well surrounding it. So, guys, it's going to be a lot of headlines going into this. Joe Willock returning. Is he fit? And that's where we get into the team news. We'll start off with Newcastle because Fabian Schär, who came off injured, he's fit and available. Key player for them at the back in terms of progressing and defending for them too. And has a bit of a goal touch as well. Into the opposition box, and he scored a couple goals against Aston Villa. Could have scored a hat-trick in that game. And 2 players mentioned Joe Willock. He's back in training after he's suffered an Achilles tendon injury. And Alexander-Isak, who's been out with a groin problem, returned to training. So Joe Willock, Alexander-Isak could return for the Magpies. But we definitely know that Callum Wilson, Elliot Anderson, and Joe Linton will be out of this game. So 2 huge injury boosts for the Magpies. And now talking about the Arsenal, who have 2 huge, potentially 3 injury boosts as well. As Mikel Arteta said in his press conference this afternoon or this morning, was it? I can't quite remember when he said it. It might have been the morning. Let's just say what he said on the 23rd of February 2024 is that Jesus, Partey, and Zinchenko could be involved. Paraphrasing, he said that Jesus and Partey are close, and then Zinchenko is the same. Not far at all, he said about Zinchenko. So most likely we could see Jesus and Partey within the squad. I don't think any of the 3 would start if they were all available, but they could all have a big part to play. Maybe if there was one starter, it could be Jesus, just because he's played more recently. Actually, no, he hasn't. Zinchenko's technically played more recently because he played against Liverpool, but came off at half time with that calf problem he's been managing ever since he had his Arsenal career, to be honest. But Jesus played against Forest, got a man of the match performance. Hasn't played since then. Zinchenko played the first 45 minutes against Liverpool, came off for Kivior, who played the remainder. Haven't seen him since then. And Thomas Partey, we haven't seen him since we played against Manchester City back in October. So he could be back, and he will be a big boost for Arsenal if he's involved in the squad after we played an unchanged team. We've played the same team 3 games in a row. 3 games in a week as well. I think that could have a real test on the squad. And in terms of the fixture, I don't think it's going to be a free-flowing Arsenal, beautiful performance because 2 reasons. One, Arsenal have played 3, are going to essentially play 3 games in a space of a week coming into this. And with having so many key players injured who add a lot of versatility, Jesus, Partey, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Timber, who are first 11 / squad players who could come in and rotate with the likes of White, Kivior, Trossard, Havertz, those players there. We've not had them available, so I think we're going to really need the fans to give us a bit more added impetus and energy. Newcastle, how they set up and play, how they did last year against us at the Emirates, very Porto-esque in terms of winning a lot of fouls, stopping the momentum, stopping our flow within that game. I think that was the first time we really saw minutes in play, how long the ball was in play. I think it was like 50 to 55 minutes that ball was in play for, so not a long time at all. Eddie Howe has got his team well versed in the dark arts and being a strong defensive outfit. Although, having said that, Newcastle haven't been a strong defensive outfit of late, and it's been quite interesting to see the downturn since Newcastle played Liverpool, conceding a lot of chances. One of the worst teams in terms of expected goals conceded against them. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that and how they perform. But my prediction for this game is I have gone for a tight game, but I've gone with Arsenal to edge it, a 2-1 Arsenal win. I just think that we will be able to do it in front of the home crowd. Newcastle looking a little bit leakier at the back. I do think we will concede too. Newcastle have a lot of threat. Anthony Gordon, Alexander-Isak, if he's there, the counter attack that they could put, the threat they could pose on the counter attack, should I say, could be dangerous. A lot of ball carriers who you can do it up in large spaces. If we do leave them space in behind, and maybe if we're not quite at our sharpening it best, then yeah, they can easily grab a goal there. But I think we'll win it in the end by 2-1. It will be tight, nerve-wracking. Those of you who have no fingernails left after the Porto game, who still have any fingernails left, should I say, after the Porto game, you might leave them. You might be finished with them in this one here, but I think we will win it in the end by 2-1. Let me see what your thoughts, guys, are in the chat. Love to see everyone in here. We've got plenty of people in here. We've got Ozzy over on the big football talk. Sorry, I was just half reading your comment, half reading the name. Football Talk podcast. Big up to yourself, Oz. Says big up to Tereak. 3-1 to the Reds. He predicts. Big up to yourself, Oz. And Dad's giving you a big up there. I'm not wearing a red shirt underneath. It's a blue one. So yeah, mate, it's a navy blue too. So I'm not representing Arsenal here. Paxton's also gone for a 2-1 Arsenal win. He says, we'll be cagey for a while, but hopefully you pull through. Yeah, me and Pax along the same lines there. So is Moss, who's gone for an Arsenal 2-1 win. Saka, Ødegaard, and Isak to score. So 2 Scandinavians to go and grab the goals there in that game. And my boy, Bukayo Saka, running down a wing. Saka. Yeah, you don't know that tune. Yeah, he's Moss saying we're too harsh. Nah, man, I didn't think I thought I was quite easy with it, man. Moss, I thought it was quite easy. I know you wasn't happy with my Saliba rating that I gave him, but I did. Moss Saliba's amazing, and he's one of our most important players in and out of possession. He didn't have a good game in possession. Looked a bit shaky out of it. Their Galeno chance comes from not just him, but again, it comes from him half asleep. I've seen Saliba have some of these games. He had against Nottingham Forest too, but because we won that game, it doesn't really get spoken about a lot. But yeah, he wasn't good in that one either. But yeah, he's still young. I think that's why we need to calm down when we talk about Saliba. Yeah, I've potential out of this world. And what we've seen him perform in big games, wow, crazy. But he's still young. We need to remember that. Arsenal 3-0, says Shay. And my Uncle Tom is a Newcastle fan. Hopefully you can have the bragging rights to your Uncle Tom this weekend, Shay. Love to see that, man. And yeah, hopefully we do. If we do win 3-0, I'll be delighted. 5 a.m. Sunday kickoff, this one for me. Not mad at that. Early breakfast things, he says 3-1 to the Arsenal. Big up to yourself, my bro, Bunga. Hope we set your Sunday off with a bang. A 3-1 Arsenal win. 5 a.m. is not too bad. It just means you have to have an early-ish night, or if you don't have an early night, you'll suffer later on during the day. And this Arsenal give you that added energy, added boost to your Sunday. Sunday is not a bad day to, have a little bit of a relax anyway. Maybe have a little nap if you need to. If 40-year-old Pepe knocks you out of the CL, my goodness, I know a lot's been made of that, but credit to Pepe. He's doing very well for his age, and he'll be 41 packs by the time we play him next, because he was like 40 when we played him. His birthday was 6 days away, so he's probably like 4 days away to his 41st birthday. Crazy. Daz has also gone for an Arsenal win, 2-0 to the Gunners, who is out for Newcastle. No Wilson, no Anderson, no Joe Linton for them. So they're the key players who are out long term, but they will have Fabian Schär fit, and Isak and Willock could appear. Most likely won't start. I mean, Willock most definitely won't, because he's been out for a long time. But Isak will likely come off the bench. If not, he may start. In fact, I may get about 60 minutes. We'll have to wait and see, because they don't have anyone else up front. So he might, if someone's starting, it might be Isak. Let's see what anyone else in the chat. Erdogan Kenobi's gone 1-0 to the Arsenal. 1-0. Love it. So yeah, just still out with that a torn pectoral tendon. Daz, he tore his pec, the tendon in his pec. Crazy. 9 to 12 weeks, they said he'll be out for. Don't like Porto since they mistreated Gabriel Veron. I won the kid, so low key don't mind you smashing them in the next leg. Oh, what happened to him? Is he the Brazilian right winger? And he can play left as well. I remember he played one game and I think he burst onto the scene. It might have been in a Champions League game, actually, but he's not there now, is he? Because he's obviously he was in the squad, unless he's injured. Let me know, Pax. You have to keep me updated on Gabriel Veron. But next games, guys, we're gonna fly through some of these now. We've talked about the two big fixtures: Chelsea versus Liverpool and Arsenal versus Newcastle. 8 p.m. kickoff here in the UK. I think it'll make for a fantastic atmosphere, though, guys. But let's go into the one that kicks off before this one, and it's 5:30, and it is Manchester City traveling down south on the south coast to AFC Bournemouth under Andoni Iraola. So we've got two Spaniards in the dugout for this weekend. Manchester City bounced back after that draw with a 1-0 win against Brentford. Could have scored more, had plenty of chance in that game, but only scored the one, and it did fall. Quite fortunately, because it was Christopher Ajer who slipped in that moment, which allowed Haaland to go in and score. So it was big for them there, and they needed those 3 points after dropping points at home to Chelsea and Brentford. Bit of a bogey side have proven to them in last season, shall we say, anyway, but beat them twice now, done the double over them. That's a big result for Manchester City. They will be without Josko Gvardiol and Jack Grealish. That still remains the same. Kevin De Bruyne didn't play in that game because he's nursing the after effects after his hamstring injury. He's had a little niggle in there, which tends to happen when you've been out for so long. You've had surgery, you had a long period out, you've come back, reconditioning phase. You're likely to pick up more muscular injuries, not even just in the same area that you had it in other parts of your body too. Just as the intensity that these guys are playing at, and the quick turnaround that he's played. A lot of these games have been as well, isn't going to be easy for him to deal with, but he missed out on that game. They were able to rest him, but he's most likely going to be involved for this one here for the Citizens. But Andoni Iraola's side have a bit of team news back for themselves. Of course, when we spoke about them in the preview show, they've had an extensive injury list, but not Lucien Favre, because he's a manager, but Romain Favre is back from illness, and Phil Billing will serve his final match third that he's missed in the third game. This is the third out of his 3-match suspension, so he'll miss this game. It'll be his final match that he will serve for his suspension. But the key players that remain out for Bournemouth is Ryan Fredericks, Tyler Adams, and Max Aarons. So we won't see the right back, the DM that they've certainly been missing throughout most of the season. And I think they have missed them in these type of fixtures, and that solidity, defensive know-how, energy within that midfield. They don't really have that in their squad beyond Tyler Adams. So him not being fit and available has been a huge loss for them. But they've done well, of course. Not really so much in recent weeks. It looks a little bit leaky at the back, which doesn't spell for good news. So make sure you do take that in consideration when it comes to predictions, guys. But crazy things have happened. But I've not gone for a crazy result here. I've gone for a 3-1 Manchester City win. Do you know my thoughts, guys? Paxton knows my thoughts already on Bournemouth, and I really do like them. Andoni Iraola in his style and what he does with the talent that he has, and he has recruited a lot of good talent within this Bournemouth team. The owners have backed him quite well. We're seeing what he's done at Rayo Vallecano in terms of the talent and the budget that he works with there, and he really got the best out of them and got them further up the league, taking big scalps along the way, beating Real Madrid and the likes of there. I do think he's a very good coach, but it's a step too far, bridge too far for Bournemouth. And I think they'll lose by 3-1. Maybe tight. Man City might go 2-0 up, Bournemouth pull one back. And then whilst they're trying to go for an equaliser, leaving men exposed, that's when Manchester City just wrap it up, put it to bed. Phil Foden, that's who I'll go for, the goal scorer there. Been on fire this season and could have a big impact for England in the Euros. But let's see your thoughts and predictions, guys, in the chat right now. I've just seen Shay say I love to do a crazy prediction. I haven't even seen yours yet. I'm going to check that out in a sec. He's on loan now. Where is he on loan to? Interesting, Pax. Gabriel Veron. This is what we do over here. We have little conversations, subtopics within other conversations. But Paxton is also, mate, are we sharing great minds think alike? You know what I mean, Pax? We are very close in the predictions table. But you've also gone for a 3-1 Manchester City win. And this is the crazy prediction that Shay was talking about. The Cherries to win by 2-1 against Manchester City. Shay, I really hope and pray that this prediction does come right. I really do. I was trying to think of a word that rhymes with pray then because I was on a roll. I couldn't think of it. Shay, pray. And I hope your predictions come to stay. Nah, I'm doing too much. Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's gone for another one. He's gone for a 3-2 Bournemouth win. A Dominic Solanke hat-trick. And I talk about crazy predictions. And guys, I've been stressing on this channel and other channels as well to other Arsenal fans, non-Arsenal fans. This Manchester City defence is vulnerable. They can be got at. Bournemouth are a very front foot attacking side. They do leave themselves a bit exposed at the back as well. Manchester City, how good they are going forward, it's not equal to how good they are defensively. Chelsea should have scored 3 goals. A bit more clinical, they would have been able to take it there. Dominic Solanke should have scored a hat-trick last week, to be honest with you. He scored 1, but he had 2 bigger chances before he actually did score. So chances will be given to Bournemouth at home. Those that have that home edge there too. I just can't see them scoring enough goals and being clinical enough when they do get them presented. But crazy things have happened, guys. I hope you're right, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But Daz has gone for a 3-2, but to Manchester City in this game here. Veron is on loan to Cruzeiro, but injured his Achilles tendon. That can be a serious one. Telekinesis powers, exactly. We know how it is. And look who's joined us. Me, Moss, and Pax. What is that? 2 in a row now. He's gone for a 3-1 City win. Haaland, Foden, Alvarez with a goal. Solanke for Bournemouth. And then Hanno, make it 4. 4 of us joining the fantastic 4, shall I call us, in a 3-1 Man City win. You're right. I changed it 4-1 to Bournemouth. Holding one Kenobi. I love it. I hope you're right. I love it. He goes, you're right. I changed it 4-1 to Bournemouth. That's killed me, as. Next one, we'll go into Manchester United at home to Fulham. And there's been some big news for this one here, Man United fans. Paxton will already know about it. But Rasmus Højlund, the man in form at the moment, he scored, 7 goals in 6 games for the Red Devils. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks. And that means he could... Is he out? Does that mean he's out for the Manchester derby? I hope not. Let me have a look for you now. Let me have a look for you. Flash score. When are you guys playing Manchester City? Please don't be out for that Manchester derby. I need you to do something. You're away from home too, so he's most likely out for the Manchester derby. That's going to be not next week. It's 2 weeks' time, and he could be out for 2 to 3 weeks. So he could return for that game. He could return, but it's going to be touch and go whether he does. But Rasmus Højlund's out for 2 to 3 months. Weeks. Luke Shaw, he's on the list and he's out for months. It could be 2 to 3 months, they say, for him, as well as he's re-aggravated a muscular injury for them. So that's 2 names added on to the already extensive Man United list. They do not have Lisandro Martinez, no Tyrone Malacia, no Rasmus Højlund, no Luke Shaw. They have no left back available, and that's going to be interesting. And they're missing their main man in front of goals. So that's going to mean a rejig to the front line for the Red Devils. Fulham are missing a key player in themselves in João Palhinha, who picked up his 10th yellow card in the last game against Aston Villa, and he's going to be suspended for 2 games for this one here. Armando Broja returns from illness, so they will have a striker, whereas the other one in Raul Jimenez, he's out with a hamstring injury. So Paxton, I know you like a Raul Jimenez goal. He will not be available. He's also out for them, so make sure you reassess that there if you have. I've not seen the comments yet, but Willian will also be assessed. He's a key player for Fulham, especially to that attack and that front line. But Fulham are probably the most inconsistent team in the Premier League. Man United, who have been consistent of late, consistently performing, not great, but consistently getting wins. That's what's been on the cards for Erik ten Hag's side of late. But they're going to have to try and do this without their main man going forward in Rasmus Højlund and without a left back at all available. They had Sergio Reguilon earlier in the year, but honestly, he's doing that like thing again. Make sure you hit the like button, people. But yeah, they will not have Rasmus or Luke Shaw available for this one. And I struggled to go for a prediction here. I went for a 2-1 Man United win. And only because 2 reasons. It's Man United at home. And I can't trust Fulham. Fulham can easily go there and win. And when I say easily, not because I'm disrespecting Man United, because Fulham are just one of them crazy teams. Arsenal, we picked up 1 point against Fulham this season, and they've took 4 off us. Yeah, that's just what Fulham do. Man United won this one by 1-0. A late winner from Bruno Fernandes in the first time these 2 teams met at Craven Cottage. But yeah, I just think the same thing could happen here. I just can't trust Fulham. And without João Palhinha there too, that's a big loss in that midfield. He's their engine, their battler and destroyer who helps them in transition. So, yeah, missing him. I've just gone for a 2-1 Man United win. Let's see what you guys and girls have said in the chat right now. Coach Hannah says, come on, you Whites. But Paxton's gone for a 1-0 Man United win. Edgy, but he thinks he's going to do it. Rashford's up front. Yeah, Rashford most likely will play up front for him. Moss says 3-1. Rasmus Diet Viking is out right when he was rolling. Yikes. Yeah, it's going to be a shame, but he's not out for too long. And hopefully it's not something that will affect him for the rest of the season for Man United fans as they are trying to make a late comeback for that top 4 space. I mean, it's not late. There's still plenty of games left to go. We're going to game week 26. There's 13 games left. Plenty of time to make a comeback, but him missing might derail their chances. Out for the Manchester derby. I know it's awful to hear. I know it's awful. Moss says 3-1 though. Garnacho, Rash, and Bruno versus Deco Reed. They're all of them with the goals there. Taz has gone for a 2-1 Fulham win. He's gone for it. He says 2-1 to Fulham. Jamaican goal or Muniz. Maybe he is a top 2. Rodrigo Muniz, yeah, could potentially. as much as I like Shaw, I think it's time. His time's running out. Need a revitalized left back. Mauricio might not cut it either. I agree, Pax. I like Luke Shaw. I think he's very underrated, maybe overhated, shall we say, within your fan base. But you just can't rely on him fitness wise, physically. It's just. It's worse than with us with Zinchenko, and I like Zinchenko again, a bit like him in terms of getting underrated and overhated by a big section of the fan base. But when you see them play, you know how important they are to the team, especially in build-up. I feel like we're missing Zinchenko against Porto, but yeah, I hear you, man. You can't rely on them physically. You need to get them out. Maybe Tomiyasu there too. We both just have a left back problem at the moment, Pax. Both teams do. But I've gone for a 2-1 United win. You went for a 1-0. Shay's agreeing with me here, and he's gone for a 2-1 United win. And so is Erdogan Kanobi, who's gone for a 2-1. He says, sadly, Man United win, but Ten Hag will get sent off. You think Ten Hag will get sent off? Hey, if that prediction pulls through, Erdogan Kanobi, you deserve an extra 3 points. Excuse me, sorry. I always do this every week. There's one prediction. I'm like, I like that. But if you get it, you get 3 points. Aston Villa at home to Nottingham Forest and Paxton. This is what I say. It's a me and Pax derby because Paxton is located in the East Midlands and I'm located in the West. And Aston Villa of the West Midlands against Nottingham Forest of the East. I mean, I know you don't. Do you really like Nottingham Forest? I think you like more Leicester, so probably not. And I don't really like Aston Villa at all. They're my least favourite team in the West Midlands. Sorry if you're watching any Villa fans, but you know that's just how it is. It's just your fans have annoyed me over the years. But yeah, they are at home. They do deserve to be annoying at this moment in time because they are flying high in the Premier League indeed. This is a big game, massive game to be honest with you, because Aston Villa, they did win on the weekend. They got themselves back into that top four, into that fourth place above Tottenham Hotspur after they lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers. So it's massive for them to go and grab that victory there away to Fulham with some players out. They do still have the key players out in Konsa, Duran, Diego Carlos, Mings, Buendia, and Kamara. The first three in Konsa, Duran, and Diego Carlos, they're not as long-term as the other three who are expected to be out until late in the season in Mings, Buendia, and Kamara is out for the rest of the season himself. But they have had a big draw today. They've just drawn Ajax in the Conference League, and that's huge for the club. It's going to be a massive game for them. An interesting time. Well, I'm sure that one that we'll all be keeping an eye on. I don't really watch many Europa Conference League games, but I watched the final last year, Fiorentina against West Ham in Declan Rice's final game for the Hammers, and they did win. And we're watching another team in Claret and Blue versus another. This one is an even bigger European giant in Ajax, who have been rejuvenated since their new manager came in. Forgive me for who their new manager is, but they had a change there. And they've been doing quite well. They've regained some form back in the Eredivisie, but they did look shaky. They did lose Josip Satalo, so it will be an interesting game. But this one against Forest, they're going to be looking at this for a key one, trying to keep themselves ahead of Tottenham Hotspur. And Tottenham Hotspur are not actually playing this weekend. I am correct in saying so. Yeah, Tottenham Hotspur not playing. It could be a big chance for them to gain some points. Yeah, Tottenham will have a game in hand over them, but games in hand mean nothing as long as you get points on the board. That's the most important thing, and they'll be looking for that. So that's why it's a big one for Villa. In terms of injury news for Nottingham Forest, and a huge game for them, given their position in the table, they are currently in 16th, and after a good start under Nuno Espirito Santo, they have lost 3 out of their last 5. They lost to Brentford, Arsenal, they lost to Newcastle, but they did win last week at home to West Ham United. So they did beat a team in Claret and Blue, and they're going to be looking to do so again, Nuno Espirito Santo, and get themselves on a run. But the injury news for them is no Chris Wood, no Ola Aina, no Ibrahim Sangare, and no Willy Bolly. So no Chris Wood, who is out injured. And the three that are meant to return from AFCON, they have returned now, but not returned back into action for Forest. They all carry injuries, which is pretty unfortunate for Nuno Espirito Santo. Three key players, especially for me, Ola Aina and Ibrahim Sangare, add some physicality into those positions, some defensive prowess. That Nottingham Forest, the worst defensive team from set pieces in the Premier League. You thought Burnley were bad, Nottingham Forest are worse. So yeah, they're going to be without key players there, and Willy Bolly, a monster at the back who's an aerial threat. They're going to be missing him. But with all those players out injured, we've got another African king out there in Nottingham, and that is Taiwo Owanyi. He could start. He got 67 minutes in the last game against West Ham, and they were looking to slowly reintroduce him, but he most likely will start in this game here, unless there's any late setbacks or anything that he's come with. And before that game does kick off at 3:00. So yeah, Taiwo Owanyi, big for them, big in terms of goal scoring and that being that goal scoring threat. And I have actually given them a goal for this game because of Taiwo Owanyi and what he can do and the nuisance he causes. But I've gone for an Aston Villa 2-1 victory. I just think the Villains will be able to do it at home, keep the momentum going a little bit. Those home games are going to be huge now, given the players they've got out, and we're entering the business end of the season. They are to make top four. They need to give themselves a bit of ground, because if they do win, guys, if Villa do win, they will put themselves 5 points ahead of Tottenham Hotspur. They'll be on 52, Tottenham will be on 47, and Tottenham will have a game in hand. But have to win them. Tottenham have got some tricky fixtures towards the end of the season. So yeah, they'll be hoping for Villa to drop points here, but I think Villa will manage the win in this one. So let's have a look here. Paxton's gone for a thriller in Midlands. He's gone for 3-3 draw, and I'm going to stop singing the song. Sorry. But yeah, Villa 1, Forest 1, says Shay. Diaby hat-trick somehow. I see what you're doing there, my friend. I see what you're doing. You're a hater, Pax, on the ball. You want to see me in a Spurs shirt next season, yeah? It's 6-6 at the moment. And if you're wondering, what are you talking about, Tereak? I made a bet with a Villa fan. Yeah, that Kai Havertz will score more goals in all comps. He will score more goals for club, not for country, because I think Kai Havertz would be winning, and it wouldn't be fair because he scores goals from left back, doesn't he, for Germany? But it's 6-6 at the moment. Diaby scored 6 goals. Havertz has scored 6. And if he scored a hat trick, that would be painful. That would be. But yeah, hopefully Havertz can score and Diaby can not this weekend. Me and Daz have gone for the same scoreline. He's gone for an Aston Villa 2, Nottingham Forest 1. Erdogan Kenobi has gone for a 3-1 Aston Villa win. All goals to be scored by own goals for Martinez. Again, 3 points to you if that happens by Villa players. But the own goal from Martinez for the Forest one. I hear you. I don't like Villa, but I love their players tunnel with that Champions League in the middle. Yeah, they do put it in there, don't they? I didn't see it for our game, but I saw it for them against Manchester City, and I thought, okay, that was quite cool. I did appreciate that for someone for I don't even need to joke about our own team about Champions League. They will do it for us. 2-2 says Shay. 2-1 for Villa as well, says Moss, agreeing with me and Daz. Says Watkins, Diaby, and Owanyi with the goals. 2-1 Leverkusen. Hold that Kane. They've done it in the end, haven't they? They're going to win the league, aren't they, guys? They are going to in the end. And yet, Harry Kane going to be trophyless in his first season. 2-1 Leverkusen now. Crazy. I'm enjoying it. But do you know the one trophy that he will get at the end of the season, guys? The cannon that they have to hold. He's always been a true gooner at heart. But anyways, Brighton and Hove Albion. The Seagulls take on Everton, aka the Toffees, in this game here. Remember this game last season? What was it? 5-1? 4-1? I can't even remember. The Everton beat Brighton at their ground. This fixture was crazy last year. I'm going to get it here for you. Stats. Come on. Yes, it was It was indeed 5-1. But the last time these two teams faced in the Premier League was on the 4th of November. That finished on 1-1 draw. Injury news for both teams. Injury news is quite big for Brighton. Carlo Mitoma is a doubt due to a back injury. However, Julio Enciso is most likely going to be back in the matchday squad, but they will be without João Pedro, their top goal scorer, James Milner, and Jack Hinchelwood for the Seagulls. For Everton, they will have Mikalenko and Coleman fit, so two fullbacks, their left and right back, available there. But the players that we definitely know will be out is Andre Gomez and Arnaud Danjuma. In this game here, guys, I've gone for a tight one. I have gone for another draw. I've gone for another 1-1. I just feel like Brighton will struggle against Everton because Everton do like to come up against attacking teams. Sean Dyche gets them well drilled, well versed for that. With their counter-attacking team in transition, the threat that they can pose in the box, with the height that they've got in Calvert-Lewin, he's not been good this season. I can't even put his name like that. He's been horrendous for Everton, let's be quite honest. But Beto's not been a good signing at all. And I need to hold my hands up. I need to say sorry because I thought it was a decent signing at the beginning of the season, but I was wrong. He's been just as bad as Calvert-Lewin, if not worse. So yeah, Beto, not been good. Calvert-Lewin, not been good. I don't see them scoring as many goals as they did last year. Calvert-Lewin was vital for this game. He looked in really good form for this match in particular last year when they did get that win. But I just don't think they have enough in the end. But they will be able to hold out Brighton, I do think. Not for a clean sheet, but to prevent them scoring many goals. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw here. Let me see what you guys and girls have said in the chat for this one. Seagulls injuries, yeah. So Mitoma is out, is a doubt, but Enciso is back, but they will be without João Pedro, Milner, and Hinchelwood. 3-1 Everton, says Shay. 3-2 Brighton, says Pax. So we've got mixed results here. Bungo says, can't wait to see Harry Kane lifting that top goal scorer cannon trophy. Those memes will be priceless. Just getting back, someone's definitely going to be photoshopping him in an Arsenal shirt. It won't even be too hard because of the red and white that Bayern wear. 2-0 Brighton. Buonanotte and Adingra. Yeah, Buonanotte and Adingra were brilliant against Sheffield United last weekend. And yeah, Adingra has been on top form since coming back from the AFCON. 2 assists in the final. Brilliant player. Daz has gone for a 2-2 draw here as well. So he's gone for a draw, like me, but 2-2 this time. True Bongo, says Mars. 1-0 Brighton, says Odeguan Kanobi. Lewis Dunk's 35-yard screamer. I love Odeguan Kanobi's predictions for this one. Brighton, Everton is a sick note striker derby. Welbeck and Calvert-Lewin to score, then get crocked. Exactly. Both quality players on their day, but rarely on their day because of injuries. When they come back, they take a while to get themselves back to fitness and form. And then just as they hit form, they tend to fall out with an injury again. It's a cycle that just keeps getting repeating. But I hear you. It's two strikers that could be playing for England, to be honest, if it weren't for injuries. Bayern suck without Alfonso apparently, eh? And 2 spuds ensures no trophies in Dyer Kane, says Boss. Let's go now into the next one, and that is Crystal Palace versus Burnley. This is huge. Oliver Glasner, his first game as manager. He was in the stands for the game against Everton in that 1-1 draw, but this is his first game at home in front of the Selhurst Park faithful in a game that they are expected to win as well against second bottom Burnley, who have struggled, who just come back after that 5-0 defeat to Arsenal. In terms of team news for both sides, for Crystal Palace, they will be without key players, the key trio in Eze, Elise, and Gueye. With Eze, though, he's back in training, but won't be featuring in this game here. Elise still not back after another hamstring injury that he picked up in that game against Brighton in that defeat there. Mark Gueye is still out with his knee injury, similar injury to the one that Trent Alexander-Arnold's picked up at a hyperextended knee. So he's not going to be too far off a return, but they're going to be obviously quite cautious as well in terms of rushing him back, but they definitely need him. They are want to stay up. They want to get themselves out of that relegation dogfight as soon as possible. We've also got for Burnley, Aaron Ramsey. Yes, Aaron Ramsey with an injury. That's a very familiar sound for Arsenal fans, but it's not the Aaron Ramsey. It's Jacob Ramsey's brother. Aaron Ramsey out for the season with a knee injury that he picked up against Arsenal. I remember watching that on the weekend, and it was horrendous. It was a challenge between Ødegaard. Ødegaard did nothing wrong in that, because it was the way that Ramsey landed and his knee buckled and it popped, and it just wasn't a pretty sight to see at all. And they had to give him oxygen and then things there. So yeah, man, it wasn't nice to see. But wishing Aaron Ramsey a speedy recovery for this one, not for this game, but for the remainder. As soon as possible. So, and a good recovery, not just a speedy one, but a good one, so he can come back to the level and fulfill the potential that he has. Mike Trezor and Jordan Bayer may return for the Burnley side. What's Burnley's nickname, actually? Great question. What, the Clarets? Is it just the Clarets? I'm sure it is, but they may return for the Clarets. Jordan Bayer, who's been out with a muscular injury, but Trezor has been out with illness and injury, so he missed 4 games. That could be key for them, but I don't think it's going to be enough to grab a win in this one. And I think Crystal Palace at home, new manager bounce, with the Palace faithful, will be able to get them over the line here. It will be a cagey one. It will be a tense affair, but I've gone for a 2-1 Crystal Palace. I think it could have been more if they had the likes of Elise, Eze, or fit going forward. And if they had the likes of Gay back, they might be able to hold them out. But I don't think they will. But I think it'll be a 2-1 Crystal Palace win. Let's see what you've gone for in the chat, my people. Paxton, great minds again, has gone for a 2-1 Palace win. Any injuries for Everton? So, yeah, just the Everton one was, Gomez and Danjuma definitely out. Palace is 2-2, says Shay. Bungle says, I need Charlie Taylor to be fit. Never thought I'd ever say that, lol. New gaffer bounce, Palace win by a goal. Charlie Taylor, the reason, if you're wondering, why is Bungle mentioning Charlie Taylor? FPL reasons. He's a good FPL asset. Even though Burnley concede a lot of goals, Charlie Taylor tends to get some good attacking returns for the price that you get him at, which is what? Is he a 4.4 or is he a 4 mil? And what a type player. He might be more than that now, though, of course. But yeah, he's always a good cheap player to get. Das has gone for a boring 0-0 here. Big up Drex is in the building here as well. Says a 2-1 Palace win. Agreeing with myself and Paxton there. Shay's gone for a 2-2 draw. A great in this game. Aaron Ramsey, not a good name for a footballer. I hope he gets well soon. Exactly. Not in terms of the injury luck, Bungle. Palace 1-2. And Burnley 2. Erdogan Kanobi's gone from it. He says all goals to come from set pieces, corners, and free kicks. Hey, you know what? Erdogan Kanobi, I reckon, yeah. If you could put a little cheeky quid on all of them for an acca, you could get a mad return if that happened. But hey, you'd be here watching these streams over in the Bahamas, in Turks and Caicos, in Jamaica, you name it, wherever you want to be, with a sangria in your hand. But that's more Spanish, isn't it? So yeah, let's say a pina colada. Shay's gone for a 3-3 draw. In fact, he's changed it. Erdogan Kanobi says, if the Aaron Ramsey scores do famous people still pass away? That was an insane statistic Aaron Ramsey had. I know that time. That was like when Twitter really had began, when that used to happen, and people just used to oh no, not again, another one. Yeah, crazy Aaron Ramsey. I'm sure he knows about that statistic too. I'm sure he probably still gets jokes about it in the changing room. And let's talk about the penultimate game. We're going to fly through the rest of these so I can show you the predictions league and the table and the predictor of the month table at the end as well. So Wolverhampton Wanderers at home to Sheffield United on the 1:30 kickoff. Sheffield United all but done. It looks like Mason Holgate, you disgrace for that tackle. And do you know who's an even bigger disgrace? Anel Admahodzic. Yeah, for saying he didn't even think it was a red card. Are you joking? Crazy. But anyways, I've gone for a Wolves win for this one here. But before I go into my prediction, the only injury that Wolves have is Mateus Cunha. and he should return after the international break from a hamstring injury. So that's good news for Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are fearful that he could be out for the remainder of the season after it was announced that he picked up a hamstring injury, and it was feared to be quite serious, but it's not that as serious as it could have been, so he'll return after the international break. Sheffield United, of course, no Mason Holgate. He'll be out with a 3-match suspension. But Chris Wilder apparently was quite coy in his press conference, and he said that 2 or 3 players could return, and the 2 or 3 players that he was speaking about was George Baldock, Cameron Archer, who's been a good FPL player for Sheffield United, even though they've been poor this season. He has had some attacking returns. And Ben Brereton Diaz, the Chilean from Stoke. So, yeah, but I've gone for a Wolverhampton Wanderers win. I've gone for a 2-0 Wolves win. Let me see what you guys and girls have said in the chat for this one here. I predicted a lot of people saying a Wolves win when Twitter was proper Twitter when that Ryan Ramsey statistic came out. Paxton says 3-0 Wolves for this game here. Moss said 2-1 Palace against Burnley. Shay's gone for a 4-0 Wolves win. Moss has gone for a 2-1 Wolves win. Is Brereton Diaz, the Chileno, good to go? Could be. No guarantee. He was quite coy with his press conference. You know, a bit like how Arteta is. Doesn't really let too much away sometimes. But yeah, he could be available. Wolves 2, Sheffield United 0. Me and you've gone for the same prediction here, Erdy. It says Neto goal and an assist. Yeah, just to spike that price tag even more. 80 million they want for him. Quality-wise, he's worth it. But when we talk about Neto, you also talk about injuries, don't you? I don't know if I'd do it. I don't know. For 80 mil, he's worth it in terms of quality, but the risk is too great for his injury record. Blades 3-0 Wolves, says Bungo. Neto, Huang, Sarabia, too much to handle. Impressed with Wolves, man. Gary O'Neill, fantastic job. Not spoken about enough, the job that he's done, because I was at the start of the season, I was one of the minority that predicted Wolves to stay up. But guess where I put them? I didn't put them anywhere near where they are now. I put them 17th. A lot of people went for Wolves to go down this season, and they're not even anywhere near it. And if they had a bit of luck on their side with VAR, they could be knocking for the European places. I mean, they're still in and around it, but they would have had a much greater chance. They lost about 7 points due to VAR, but they're in 11th place now. They are they're 3 points off of Brighton in 7th. So yeah, they could still make it into the Europa Conference League places. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they're gonna have to pick up a win here if they do. So yeah, big up Bungle. Good shout there about Wolves. 4-0 Wolves, says Drex. 3-0 Wolves, says Daz. Remember to put your predictions in the comment section. My brother Shay with admin duties. Love it. Remember to put your predictions in the comments, people. And remember to like and subscribe. Let's hit that like again. Yeah, come on. You going to give me the thumbs up, StreamYard? Come on. Are you going to do it? You going to do it? No, it's not going to do it for us. Sorry. Boo. Gary O'Neill has been good. Rasmus, the GOAT. We've got Rasmus, the GOAT himself. Big up to yourself, Rasmus, the GOAT. Love to see you in the chat. I don't know if he's the GOAT, but I hear you. I know you're a Man United fan. Or a Denmark fan, or a Danish fan, who knows. We are jinxing Wolves, aren't we? 1-0 ugly away win incoming. I know it will be carnage if that happens around here. And the final game of the weekend is West Ham at home to Brentford. We had an East versus the West Midlands in the Aston Villa Nottingham Forest game. All the way around, but we do have an East versus West London here with West Ham versus Brentford. And Rasmus is it Yannick? Oh, big up to yourself, Yannick, and he's a Man United fan. Big up to yourself, Yannick. Love to see you in here. Long time no see, my brother. And yes, you are Danish, of course. Rasmus is your goal. Man United fan and Danish. Yeah, you can get away with that. So yeah, let's go into this game here in terms of the injury news. West Ham could have some positive news, though, in Lucas Paqueta being in contention, who's been out since January with a calf problem. That'll be a big plus for David Moyes and his side there. Mikel Antonio returned as well, I do believe. Yeah, Mikel Antonio returned, so they could have a good, fresh attacking line up for this game, and it'll be interesting to see there. However, they will be without their not so new, low knee in Calvin Phillips, who is now suspended after he picked up his second yellow card against Nottingham Forest. Awful time. The Yorkshire Pearl, they once upon a time called him. And now West Ham fans, but not just West Ham fans. Shout out to Abdallah, man. He said, yeah, he called him the Yorkshire Pudding. So big up to yourself, man. So yeah, now it's Yorkshire Pearl has gone to the Yorkshire Pudding. But no new injury concerns for Brentford. They still will remain, will be without, Brian Mbeumo and Ethan Pinnock. They still won't have two key players for them there in their front and back line. But my prediction, I've gone for a 2-1 West Ham win. I think they will turn it up a little bit slightly just because I worry a bit for Brentford. Defensively, they haven't been anywhere near as solid as they once were. They were good against Manchester City in midweek. Defensively, Ben Mee with a heroic performance. And if they would have got anything out of that, Ben Mee would have been one of the performances of the season in that Brentford defense. But yeah, just think West Ham, Jarrod Bowen, even when they've been performing quite bad, he still looked a threat. Lucas Paqueta, if he does return, he'll be a big plus for them. Yeah, I just think West Ham might pick up a little bit of form now with key players returning back from injury. And I just predicted them to win by 2-1. Let me see what you guys and girls have said in the chat for the live one right now. Oh, let's have a look. I've just seen something. We'll get to it. 4-1 to Brentford, says Shay. Paxton's gone for a 1-0 West Ham win, a last-minute penalty. If Paqueta is back, wham, to win. If not, score, draw. I hear you. Good prediction right there. Yeah, maybe both teams are a bit lacking that fluidity up front. Even though Ivan Toney, I guess he looked okay. I didn't watch him in midweek, but he looked okay against Liverpool. But Ivan Toney, red. Ivan Holdiswood, Toney, Pack saying red card. No way. You always predict something with Ivan Toney, but you've gone for a red card this time instead of the goals. Wow. Us Norwegians eat Danish pasties, do you mean? Pastries, not pasties. West Ham 0, Brentford 3. Erdogan Kanobi, Moyes sacked either that evening or the following day. Big prediction there again. Yannick says, could this game get David Moyes sacked in the morning? Well, if Erdogan Kanobi's prediction is correct, then most likely it could happen. But they still are in the Europa League. But hey, when things get so bad actually, no. Let me go back. I don't think he'll get sacked. Where are they in the league? I just had to clock that. They're 9th. Yeah, I don't think they'll get sacked just because they're in a safe position. If they were in a relegation fight, maybe we could have been talking then. But they're 9th, so I doubt it. I doubt he'll get sacked, even if they lose this game 3-0. Yannick. 2-1 West Ham and Brentford. You said Daz is agreeing with me with this one here. 2 for Bowen, 1 for Toney. 2-2 thriller draw, says Moss, with Kudus Bowen and Tony Brace. Tony keeps scoring, doesn't he? Yeah, keeps scoring. There was news that broke out on Twitter that Ivan Toney isn't looking like he's going to Arsenal. I'm just hoping things can change. Again, I'm just hoping things can change. 2-2 Brentford, says Admiral Drex. You know it is. Big up South Drex each and every time. Also, I'm leading the Premier League table standings as it stands 15% correct at the moment. Interesting indeed. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Premier League table standings. Oh, when we predicted at the start of the season. I hear you. Ooh, Pax, there's giveaway for that there too, well remembered, well thought. There is a giveaway for that there too. Rasmus, the goal in Yannick says 3-0 Ivan Toney hat-trick. 4-1 West Ham, says Shay. If West Ham score, Moyes will stay in the job, but if they don't, he'll be sacked in the morning. There's a lot of pressure coming from the West Ham fans, though. You are right in saying that, Erdogan Kanobi. I hear your points of view. Safe enough position to feel like they can make a change now and bring someone in who can assess what they want for the summer window. I hear your logic. It's very good logic, Erdogan Kanobi. I do hear it. It makes sense. I do think West Ham will need to go in a different direction this in the summer anyway. So if you can make that change now, put yourself available on the market, get someone in for the time being. let them assess the situation. He said, yeah, and put the feelers out there. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it was the same. It was the same table thing we did before the season. How is Moss doing, Pax? Yeah, you have to have Pax. Give us an update on that, there, my friend. But speaking about tables, let me show you this one right now. So this is the predictions table. This is last week's prediction table, and there has been no adjustments, but there has been an update to the scores. Mange now on 190 points with 25 correct scores. Moss with 174, 16 points behind Mange, but he does have 28 correct scores right there. Myself, I am behind Moss, 10 points behind him with 164 with 21 correct. But Max is only 5 points behind me, and he has got 159 with 18. Mr. 200 is 16 points off of Pax there. There's a bit of a gap there, and then there's an even bigger gap between 5th and 6th. But Shay's climbing up the table with 86 points, not far from that 100 mark indeed. And we do have a new we do have a new addition in Drex, who got 8 points in his first week and got 1 correct score. So that's fantastic, Drex. You've already climbed up to 13th place. But big up to yourself, guys. And in the predictor of the month, Mange, after a strong week, has overtaken Moss, but it's still all to play for this weekend. This is the last weekend before we will get the predictor of the month out, because the next game week begins on the 2nd of March. So this is the last fixtures that we'll have. Next week's show will be a pre-recorded one, but I'll announce the winner and then I'll get in touch with the winner before I record that show as well. So yeah, man, definitely with a predictor of the month, it's class. It definitely get involved, guys. And Bungo says I'll have to get involved in the predictor of the month stuff next time. Yeah, for sure, man. We do have predictor of the year, obviously with the table for the year, but we also have predictor of the month each month, so you can still get involved and still be within a chance of getting a giveaway. Always silver for Moss. I know you've finished second so many times, it's unreal. But Moss, can you do it this weekend? It's all still to play for. Let's wait and see. If obviously you and Mange finish on the same points, it'll go to correct scores, and Mange is currently winning on that. But we'll have to wait and see, guys. It's going to be all to play for February. We still got March, April, and May to do as well. So stay tuned for that, people. Thank you for everyone being here in the live chat. Again, showing support to the channel. Really do appreciate it each and every time. John Johnson has got a question. Big up to yourself, John. He says, I have a question. Who should I captain this week? Thinking about Watkins or Haaland, but Gross has been doing really well in the last 3 games. Absolutely fantastic question. I used my triple captain on Haaland in the last game week, and it didn't prove to be a success. So remember, take my opinion with a pinch of salt. But I would look at Ollie Watkins is at home up against Nottingham Forest, although Aston Villa do have injuries. Didn't stop Watkins scoring a brace last weekend, though. So Watkins is a good shout being at home, but you can't go against Manchester City this stage in the season, John. Coming up against a team that doesn't look so strong in the defence, I would personally stick it on Haaland out of those. Gross is a good shout. If you're looking to try and go for a differential and trying to go and gain points, I would look at Pascal Gross. I would look at him too for some attacking returns. Takes penalties for them. With João Pedro out injured, he would certainly take a penalty if they do get one. But yeah, Haaland is the one for me. That's who I'm going to go for. John, let's have a look. If Haaland bangs, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this game week. I know what you mean, my bro. If Haaland bangs, everyone. Exactly. It's true. Daz says, how many points do I have? You, in terms of the predictor of the month, Daz, you didn't submit them into the comment. You didn't, did you? In the comment section for the last week, but you are on 4 points, Daz, with 0 correct scores. But yeah, you only joined only about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, if you just put your predictions in the comment section at the end of this, that will be great. And John says, thanks. No worries, my man. Big up to yourself each and every time. Friend of the channel, always a regular on Moss's as well, who does great commentary. And he's just like Moss, yeah, in terms of watch. I don't know how you keep your eyes and your attention on so many different games and sports going on, but it's great. Big up to yourself, John, each and every time. So now, next, week, guys. As I said, I will be doing a pre-record, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be going out next weekend. You know, I'd like to do it every so often. So I'm going to be going out next week, so there will be a pre-record for that show there. I will announce the winner of the predictor of the month for February at the end of this game week. So Tuesday is when the game will have ended. I'll announce the winner for you there. And yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. We don't have any watch alongs coming up this week, I don't believe. But yeah, I'm not going to be doing any this weekend. Got the family coming around as well. We're going to watch the game together. So yeah, busy this weekend. But I will hope to bring you more watch alongs on a regular basis in the upcoming weeks and months. Get into the Discord server, guys. The link is in the description if you want to get involved within the community. Paxton is keeping me on guard. I'm trying to revive the Discord. I'm actually still looking into getting the birthday thing set up. It shouldn't really take me too long to get it all set up now. I watched a video in terms of doing it, and now I just need to put it into practice. And then, yeah, and we can stay connected there if you want to know any shows that are coming up or anything that any topics that you want to speak about, any FPL topics that John's asked, or anything else in terms of food topics as well. You know, we love to do that on the channel. We'll get them all going in there. So I really do appreciate you all. Make sure you do hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Let me see if I can get this going up again. No, it's not doing it again, is it? Okay, try. I love it when it hits you with a like, but it can't do it. Anyways, hit that like button if you haven't done so already, people. God bless. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll be back next week for the Premier League preview show. Don't forget, leave your predictions in the comment section, and we're out.